You know, we're often told that to be seen as valuable, we have to perform, right? Dress better, use bigger words, stand up straighter. But what if the most powerful signals of value aren't the ones we're trying to send? Today, we're going to break down 6 silent habits that are all about building your internal state, not your external show.
So most of us get stuck focusing on what we can call external polish, all the things people see on the surface. But the real foundation of high value, that's your internal architecture. And this has nothing to do with appearance, it's all about your ability to self-regulate and stay composed, especially under pressure. These are the quiet signals that introduce you long before you ever say a word.
And this quote it captures the entire idea perfectly. Seriously, think about that for a second. Before you've even made your case or said hello, people have already taken a reading of your nervous system. Are you calm and centered, or are you anxious and reactive? That silent introduction can set the tone for the entire interaction.
Okay, so let's get practical. Our first area of practice is all about mastering your response. This is about how you handle the challenges, the curveballs, and the misunderstandings that life throws at you every single day. And this is where we find our first 2 habits.
Just look at this contrast here. When someone misunderstands us, what's our first instinct? For a lot of us, it's to jump in, over-explain, and defend ourselves. It feels urgent, right? But the high-value approach is totally different. It's having the quiet confidence to only clarify when it's absolutely necessary, knowing that a temporary misunderstanding doesn't actually change your worth. And this brings us to our first 2 silent habits. Habit number 1, pause before you defend. Just don't jump in immediately to correct the record. Take a breath. Habit number 2, assess before you act. Ask yourself a simple question. Is this misunderstanding actually important? Is it strategically relevant? Based on your answer, you can offer a short clarification. Or, and this is a real power move, you can just let it go. Always remember, certainty is calm, insecurity is fast. This little thing right here, the micro delay, this is where the magic happens. A challenge pops up, and instead of that immediate knee-jerk reaction, you insert that crucial pause. That tiny gap is what gives you the space to deliver a regulated, thoughtful response. And that simple pause signals to everyone that you are in complete command of yourself. All right, on to our next set of habits. These are all about mastering your presence. And no, this isn't about being the loudest person in the room. It's about controlling the silent, non-verbal signals you're sending out all the time. It's true, our bodies leak the truth. When we're under pressure, we often leak anxiety by talking faster or fidgeting. Which brings us to habit number 3, train for stillness. By consciously slowing your breath and minimizing your movements, you remove those signals that you feel threatened. This isn't about being passive, it's about projecting dominance through calmness, not through aggression. And here's exactly how you practice that stillness. This is habit 4, conduct a body language check. The next time you feel that pressure building, just run through this mental checklist. Slow your breathing down, unclench and relax your jaw, feel your feet on the ground to ground your posture, and keep your gestures minimal and intentional. This is how you build that nervous system discipline in the moment. And this is the payoff for all that composure. In a world that's so noisy, where everyone is fighting for attention, you just stop competing. You speak with purpose. By using silence and speaking intentionally, your words suddenly carry so much more weight. You're no longer just another voice in the noise. You become a point of gravity that people naturally lean in to hear.
All right, let's get to our final 2 habits. And these are the ones that really tie everything together, because they're all about how you master your boundaries, your time, your energy, and your attention.
Let's think about this with some basic economics, which brings us to habit 5, practice deliberate allocation. If you're instantly available all the time, it signals that you have an excess supply of your time and attention, which, lowers its perceived value. On the other hand, when you deliberately allocate your time, it shows you have clear priorities. This isn't about playing hard to get, it's about living a structured, purpose-driven life. And you can see the difference so clearly right here. The reactive day is total chaos. It's a free-for-all for anyone's demands. But the structured day, that has intentional blocks of time for what matters. When people realize your time is finite and structured, they approach you with more focus and more respect. Your boundaries actually command their attention. And this brings us to our 6th and final silent habit. And this one is the anchor for all the others. Habit 6, be willing to withdraw. The practice itself is simple, but it's incredibly powerful. First, learn to evaluate interactions that feel unbalanced. Second, you have to emotionally detach from needing a specific outcome. And third, if it's necessary, you withdraw. No drama, no big announcement. This quiet detachment signals deep self-respect. and that instantly rewires any power dynamic. So we've just walked through 6 silent habits, but if you look closely, you'll notice they all serve one single, powerful principle. This is the anchor that holds everything else in place.
And that principle is self-regulation. So what is that, really? It's the ability to keep your internal world, your emotions, your focus, your reactions, stable, no matter what kind of chaos or pressure is happening in the external world. This is that internal architecture we talked about right at the beginning.
So here's the bottom line. You can have the best clothes, the sharpest vocabulary, but that external polish can never hide internal instability. True, lasting value is always built from the inside out. When you stop chasing approval and you stop leaking that sense of urgency, you become psychologically anchored.
And anchored people are the ones who influence the world around them. So the only question left is, where are you going to start? Are you going to practice the pause, maybe train for a little more stillness? Or are you going to practice being willing to withdraw when necessary? Which of these 6 silent habits will you choose to anchor yourself today?